Here's the tongs we're going to make today. It's kind of a takeoff on the pause tongs a little bit, only making them just a little bit of a bolt jaw tong, which makes them just a little bit more flexible. So I've laid off my parent stock here, which is 3/8 for the bits. Parent stock for the bits is 3/8 by 3/4. I put a mark at 3/4, another mark 3/4 down from that, and then another mark down 1.25 from that. And then I put it on the sharp corner of the anvil and marked the edges that I want to forge so I can find it when I come out of the fire. So let's get this hot. At that mark that's at the back end of the boss. So at that very last mark at the far side of the anvil, we'll hold that up there, half on, half blow. Set that down right behind the boss, probably not quite 3/8 of an inch. Step number, I guess that's step number 2. Step number 3 is to cut that off right where the parent stock and that angle we just made meet. I'm going to use a butcher type hot cut here so that my parent stock has a flat face on it and the bit will have a start of the scarf for the forge weld on it. Now, right where the parent stock size is back to its normal. Cut that almost all the way through. And just like that, now that piece there is ready to make the next bit. And this piece here is ready to get ready to forge weld. I've already upset my piece of 3/8 rod to prepare to the weld. I just need to put the scarf on it. Now I've done this both ways. I've omitted this step and I've not omitted it. I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to take that down to where it's about the same width all the way down. And put the scarf on it now. I'm going to go ahead and file that off a little bit and get that wrinkle out of there, because it's a lot easier to file it out than it is to try to hammer it out. And we'll work on the scarf in this rein material. That'll do. Now I want to make sure that the back of that is flat. Not that the the surface is flat where it's meeting up with the rein. And there's my green flame. So let's get a hold of it here. They're at temperature. Let's see what we can do with them here. There we go. And we'll finish forging it out and welding it. Need to put a little bit of flux right in there. Up to a welding temperature and just hold it there for a while, make sure it soaks through real good. No sparks. Sparks means you have oxidation. You can melt that steel without sparks. Well, I don't think it's going to fall apart. Now then, you can see, well, I could see, there it is. You can see the back end of that weld just a little bit right in there. I don't think it's going to fall apart. By welding that on the top and bottom, getting it good and set down and letting it spread out, and then welding, well, actually the two sides, and then welding up the top and bottom, I've gotten rid of all that seam where the two pieces meet. So next, we'll get to work on the bit. Now, I've welded that onto the rein before I've done really hardly any work to the bit, because now I don't have any small ends out here on this bit getting way too hot and burning off or getting weak. Plus I've got a good handle to hold on to while forging that bit. The next step is to form the taper that turns into the bit. So with those first two marks, the 3/4 and the 3/4 marks up, and we want to taper this back at about a 45-degree angle, letting it spread out as much as you can. That just gives us much more material up in here for the bit. That looks pretty good right there. Even it up a little bit. Now, forward that in at those two marks. Using my very expensive made fullering tool, piece of 3/8 rod, stuck through a piece of angle iron, 1-inch angle iron, cut down to fit my Hardy tool hole, and then bent over. Now this will end up being about 3/8 by 3/8 when we get done, but don't take it down all the way now. So I'm going to put that on that first mark, which is just back from the end of that taper. Set that down, put it on the other mark, take them down together. That's probably, right there is about all the farther I'm going to go right now. Now I'll hammer down that hump in the middle. Now this is one place where this German style anvil comes in real handy. If you've got a regular anvil, you're going to have yourself an anvil block of some kind, a narrow anvil block to put on probably to do this. And I can set that right on top of that. And take it down to about 3/8 square. Go ahead and take the corners off. Now I've left that just a little bit thick up at the boss end, just to make sure that when I bend that down on this next step, that I don't lose too much material there. But that's the next step. I've got a nice big round peen on this cross peen hammer, and that's what I want. I don't want one with a sharp edge on it. And just set it over the far edge of the anvil on a nice round edge, and take that down to about a 45-degree angle. Just like that. You'll see that thinned down a little bit right there at the end of the boss, which it'll be okay, but I don't like it. It'll be okay though. Now is the best time to go ahead and work on that bit, getting the V-groove notch in it. First thing I'm going to do is flatten it up a little bit. That'll work. This is why I'm doing this now, because the rest of that boss and everything's out of the way. Started out with a hacksaw. So I can get it in the middle. Now that I've got that groove established right in the middle, I'm going to take my square file now you can certainly cut this in with a chisel. You can cut it in with an angle grinder and widen it out if you want. I've just found this to be a real easy way to do it. It gets you a nice clean notch. It just doesn't take very long. Cut a nice groove in there. That'll do. Now, I will be filing that end off flat. I don't know if you can see it better. Let's see. Get down here like this. There. You can see there's a fork on the end. I'll be filing that all flat, but I'm not going to do it until I get the bits together and get them matched up. But there's our groove. You can go as deep as you want. As you can see, even filing that off, I've still got plenty of material on there. So now we'll finish forming that bit. Tell you what I'm going to do. I've got, you've probably seen it, I've got the other bit already forged and it's still on there. I'm going to cut these now cut this rein in half so I'll be able to compare the two and get them exactly the same. So let me cut that off and I'll be right back. Now I'm going to head and cool that bit. Looks to me like, and it is just about the same. Now I flattened that boss out a little bit and it's a little bit longer, so I'm going to do that to the other one. But other than those needing to be adjusted a little bit, see if I can get these to where you can see them. They're lining up pretty good, the bits are, and the bosses are. So, I'd say it's time to punch holes. See about getting this in the middle. Nice light tap, see if in the middle's where I want it. Happen to know that my punch, once it goes through there, is not quite big enough for a 1/4 inch rivet. But it doesn't take very much. And there we go. I am going to put the year and my initials on one of the reins. So, put that on there good and flat. Yeah. There we go. Now you don't need this rivet setting tool to do this, but it does make a nice looking rivet. you can do all of the work on a 1/4-inch rivet cold. It's another good reason to use 1/4-inch rivets. Now I'm going to set that down, hitting it square, making sure that I'm good and tight together there. Then I'll work this edge over just a little bit. Now I'm going to use a rivet tool on the top. So I'm going to heat that rivet up. Doing that way just makes a nice looking rivet head. And the factory side has not been damaged any. So there you go. Now we'll heat that up so we can work those out a little bit. And there we go. I've got just a piece of, it's a coupling, a brass coupling. You can do this with a nut. This is just something I had that was big enough. I'm going to slide it down on those reins, using it for a spacer to keep the reins where they are right now. Brass fitting will keep them reins spread apart while I bring those bits down to where I want them. That's about far enough. Now I need to offset them, and we'll do that. So we'll clamp that bit in there like that. Take it over about halfway, flip it over, clamp the other bit in. First one over a little bit more. Trying to keep them straight. And there we go. Lined up pretty good. Now I'll file that end off. So now I'm going to take that same file and put a groove crossways in those. Now, about the midway point on that, file a groove about the same depth straight across there. And there they are, finished. Like I said, holding on the 1/4-inch stock just like I made them for, and they're real good for holding on to small parts. For them being bolt jaws like they are, they're just a little bit more flexible than the pause style tongs, and work somewhat the same way. But that is one set of what I will call finished tongs for BC 2023. I bid you all a farewell.